Welcome, retirement class of 2024. You have made it. It's time to celebrate. Okay, today's video is about what retirement would look like if it had an orientation day. And for many of you watching, 2024 is going to be your big year, or maybe shortly thereafter. And you know, unfortunately, retirement does not have an orientation day. So this is my version of that for all of us that wish retirement had an orientation day. And I think just like orientation at college, you know, before you know it, you're graduating and you have commencement. And as we all know, commencement means beginning. It doesn't mean end. And it's the same thing for your retirement, right? And just like a young college graduate wants to hit the ground running and getting on with life, it's the same thing for all of us. We've worked hard, we've made sacrifices, we've saved our money, and now we're at the point that we've always wondered about and we've been curious about, and many of us have been looking forward to for many, many years. And I want to start off by encouraging you to hit the ground running as well. You know, if you're 60 years old, unfortunately, most of us are going to have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time in front of us. And that's not a whole lot of time. So you want to make sure that you're using it wisely, and you want to make sure that you have your priorities in place so you do the things that are most important to you. So I want you to think about today on this big graduation into retirement. I want you to think about the activities that are important for you to do, looking over the arc of the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years. And I want you to put these into buckets based on what level of physical activity does it take in order to do this activity that you're looking forward to. So if there's an activity that requires a lot of physical strength, let's say you've never learned to downhill ski and you want to downhill ski. Okay, that's probably something you should do sooner in retirement rather than later in retirement. So think about time buckets. And golf does take some agility, golf does take some physical strength, but you can probably do that later in your retirement as opposed to something like skiing. Okay, so the first item we just covered was time. The second item was buckets. Number 3 is I really want you to think about what are the relationships that are important for you in life, and really focusing on those relationships and what are the things that you can do to foster those relationships and to spend the time, right? Love is a 4-letter word that is spelled T-I-M-E. So think about those relationships that are important to you and what are some of the things that you can do to foster those, because relationships are key. As we've done studies, I've been a fee-only financial advisor for over 20 years, and multiple studies show that retirees are the happiest and most content are those that have meaningful relationships in your life. So make sure that you take the time to build those relationships, identify what those relationships are, and just foster them. Okay, the next one, I want you to encourage you to be different. And just like the Apple slogan, think different. I want you to think different in retirement. I want you to break out of the mold of retirement being a more relaxed version of your work life. So if you're a really time efficient person and you get a lot of things done in a short period of time, think about breaking out of that mold. Think about, the default is we just continue on the path that we've been on. We continue with what we've been good at in the past. But I want you to think about, if you could do a redo, what are some of the qualities that you wish you had, and you've had to do certain things in order to succeed in your career. And I want you to think about what are those things that you need in order to succeed at retirement. And usually patience and understanding, particularly if you have a life partner and you're sharing this journey with your life partner. A lot of spouses will say, I got married for better or worse, but I didn't get married for lunchtime with my spouse. A lot of spouses are worried about what retirement's going to look like. So there's a new set of skills that you're going to need in order to succeed at retirement. Just like if you went to college, you had to step up your game from the amount you were studying in high school to what it took to succeed in college. Same thing in work, right? What it took for you to succeed as a student was very different than what it took for you to succeed as a professional in the workplace, or as a craftsperson in the workplace. So I want you to think about that as well. Also, I want you to take a look at the beautiful view behind me. I'd have you guess on what that is, but you wouldn't be able to guess it. Obviously, it's just a wide body of water. It turns out it's the Baltic Sea. And I'll give you a hint as to where I'm at. I'm crossing the sea from north to south and just left Helsinki, and it's about 2 hours to where I'm going. So if you know where I'm at, leave a message. But let's keep going. Okay, I also want you to think about, from a retirement standpoint, from the vantage point of your 80-year-old self. You know, you've had your go-go years. Your health is not as good as what it is today. You physically can't do some things. And what regrets would you have if you weren't able to do certain things? Okay, again, this is your orientation. So I want to put on your radar screen some things to think about, so that when you're at halfway point in your retirement journey, you look back and say, okay, the first half went really well, and I'm excited about the second half. I don't want you to look back at the first half and say, I didn't take full advantage of everything. And one way to make sure that you do take full advantage is look at life from your 80-year-old or 85-year-old self, and what things would you regret if you weren't able to do them as easily. As I mentioned, this is the Baltic Sea behind me. I've always wanted to see Finland. Studies show that it's one of the happiest places on earth. And I wanted to see the Baltic states. Normally I would go to Russia as well, but as I record this, now is not the time to go to Russia. So this is something I would regret doing if I hadn't done it. So think about that. I want you to be bold. I want you to be daring. I want you to think about the adventures that you want to have, and I want you to pursue those with full gusto, okay? And then I also want to address something that I hear a lot is, I want to leave a legacy behind. And when you think about the billions and billions of people that have been on Earth over time, most of us could not name 500 famous people, just from memory. If we had a Wikipedia, we could. But I think the pursuit of legacy is overstated. And what I have learned as a financial advisor for over 20 years is the legacy we leave behind are the people whose lives we touch during our lifetime. So for most of us, that's our kids, that's our grandkids, that's, kind of our nieces and nephews and other people that have crossed our lives. But, getting a building named after yourself, hey, that's great if you've got that kind of capital. But should you sacrifice and not pursue your dreams because you want something like that? I find people sometimes make a decision that they later regret because they were overly concerned about, what's my legacy? And legacy is important with the lives that you touch. But outside of that, again, how many famous people how many people really have a legacy? Not many people out there. So I want to leave you with that. And the last thing I want to talk about is 5 reasons. I want you to watch this video over here that talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. This is the graduation version of it, but this is the point to hopefully get you in the class of 2024 or the class of 2025. 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.